Hello Linux lovers, my name's Wimpy, welcome to my world. Today we're going to be taking a look at Deb Get, a project that I created a couple of months ago. Hello, good morning Paul, how are you doing? It's a project designed to enable people to install Deb packages that are published anywhere on Ubuntu. It's kind of like apt-get, but installs stuff from outside of the Ubuntu archive and repositories. It's in really good shape. I use it every day. I created it to scratch an itch, but people in the community have added some new features and some new ideas, and I'm going to roll most of the new stuff up into a new release and think about what needs to be done to sort of address some of the other feature requests in the future.
Thank you for the follow, Root3over2.
Hey, Root3over2, welcome to the stream. Thank you to the follow. Thank you for the follow. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. And I thought I'd just do a very quick recap on what's been going on with the power cut and Retro Home, which is the project I've been working on most recently. But if you're here watching this on YouTube after the fact, this was streamed live on twitch.tv/Wimpy's World. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So if you want to give us a follow over there, that would be much appreciated. Or if not, continue watching the archives of these streams on YouTube. Right, let's just take a quick look. Well, let's cover I had a power cut in the last stream. In fact, at the point I said, let's just pull, I think it said something like, let's remove the power or something from the Raspberry Pi, which I did, and as I did it, everything in this room went off. Absolutely everything. There wasn't a thing. As I was plunged into darkness, everything went off. Long story short, the power adapter that was into the Raspberry Pi, I was able to reproduce this problem after the stream. The exact same thing happened again. Plugged the Raspberry Pi in, wasn't even powered on, and everything went out. So it was that adapter for the Raspberry Pi which was the problem, which I couldn't trust the cable or the power supply at that point. So that's being got rid of. An official Raspberry Pi power supply is in use, and, well, I would touch some wood. There's some here. Since then, it's been fine. So that was the root cause of that. So hopefully that's fixed. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Paul. Hello, Esme. Yes. Yeah, so power supply issues resolved. Hello, Diogo. How are you doing? Look at me. Look at me. Do you remember this? Do you remember when we were in Sintra? Hello, King Egypt. How you doing? So that's the power issues overcome. And then with regards to Retro Home, which is the project I've been working on recently, that's a retro gaming OS for the Raspberry Pi, which is built using Ubuntu. Last night I had a bit of a hack, and this is a handheld device. It's not a very well known handheld device, but it is rather good. So let's just get this out. So this is from Waveshare. This is the GPM 2804. So this has got a Raspberry Pi Compute Module 4 inside it. Very much in the style of sort of the Game Boy Micro. So if we turn this on, it will take a moment because, it takes a while to start these. I don't know why it takes such a long time to actually boot the device, but you'll notice there's no color screen yet, so we'll just boot this up. But this was the first handheld device I had a go at enabling, and you will see momentarily it will power on. I'm certain. I really hope it will. I mean, it was working last night. At this point, it's not even got to my thing. It hasn't got past the bootloader yet. Well, that's awkward. Let's just put that there and hope that that wakes up in a moment. If I turn the... No? Oh, how odd. Oh, hang on a minute. If I... Oh, I haven't even got my operating. I can't demo it. I haven't actually got my OS on it. Sorry, please excuse me. Anyway, I've forgotten. I've removed the SD card with Retro Home on it. The long and short of it is, I've got the device working and enabled, and the screen is working, correct resolution, rotated, and all the rest of it. But then none of the inputs work, which I kind of anticipated, because Ludo, which is the front end we use for Retro Home, has a very constrained list of supported controllers. Basically, only controllers that are in the SDL controller database. So exotic controller input from like weird handheld devices like this are clearly not in there, and consequently I'm going to have to figure something out there. My options are write some sort of evdev shim, or maybe look at using RetroArch, which does have more comprehensive input controls. I'm just going to check something here a second. Okay. Just checking some audio levels my end. So, good morning, Sparky Geek. How are you doing today? So, that's coming on well. I also quickly tested Retro Home on a bunch of the other Retro Flag cases, which is what I was working on at the point at which the power went out on Monday or whenever it was. Long story short there, a whole bunch of those cases are working. I've tested Raspberry Pi 4 variants and Raspberry Pi 3 variants of those cases. That reset and power switch is working well, could be better. I'll cover that in a stream another day. But I've got a couple more cases to test, and then I think that Retro Flag stuff for the non-handheld versions is kind of done, which will be good. So there's some stuff to work on Retro Home, and also in that process I found out there was a bug in the way the display was working on Raspberry Pi 2 and 3, so that's fixed. And I also found that there was some optimizations in the boot process. So we've now, again, using those drop-ins in Systemd, we've reprioritized the boot order to make sure that the network isn't waiting to come up whilst we're achieving graphical target, and also Bluetooth as well. So we've put Bluetooth and networking after the graphical target to get us to the point where you can see stuff on the screen much quicker. So the boot time is down to about 8 seconds from the point at which the kernel has been initialized, which is pretty decent. So good morning. Hello Cliff, hello, let's see who we got here. So Shane, hello. So Shane says, it would be interesting to write a shim to make it pretend to be an N64 controller or something. Yeah, I think this is possible. So Takov, who I don't think is here at the moment, he has been investigating creating like evdev shims for well, not these controllers yet, but for like the power and reset switches, so that we can hook those into things like the actual key codes that you get on some keyboards for, you know, like suspend and reboot and all of that sort of thing. So it should be possible. It's not a topic I've dug into very much, so more research required. The other option is I actually look at RetroArch, which originally I did have in Retro Home, but it presents too many options. So maybe I'll have it as an optional thing that we can use, because certainly for the devices I want my family to use, I want Ludo, because it's just about turn it on, play some games. It doesn't ask you a bunch of questions about hardware configuration and all the rest of it. It's just a front end and, you know, the games that you've loaded. So that's where we are with those projects. So we're all caught up there. I will continue to work on Retro Home. Maybe we'll do a stream on that on Friday. Probably. Maybe we'll have some some news there. But I'm not certain what the Friday stream's going to be yet. Let me know if that's what you want to see more of. I'm going to have a go at some more handheld devices, I think, because I think that'll inform me as to whether I start writing stuff in Ludo to account for these weird controllers, if I write an dev shim, or maybe if I take the escape hatch route, which is use RetroArch, which could be interesting. But so far, Retro Home has served its purpose. It's helped teach me a bunch of stuff that I wouldn't have come across, particularly around Systemd. I've learned loads of new facilities and features of Systemd, which I kind of knew were there, but they weren't fluent and in my mind. So it's been good from that point of view. And also things like authorization and policy kit and privilege escalation, and doing that in a secure and controlled way. I know how to do those things in regular desktop environments, but without the luxury of the full suite of protocols. It's been interesting looking into that stuff. So King Egypt has a question. Any prospective Steam Deck customers? The GPD Win 2 Max, Win Max 2 even, is starting its crowdfunding tomorrow. It's a bargain at twice the price. Yeah, so I've obviously, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 GPD devices on the shelf here. Long-time viewers here will know that GPD, more often than not, send me an engineering sample of their devices, and I create Ubuntu Mate images for them and do the hardware enablement for those. I haven't had any communication with them about the Win Max 2, which I'm surprised about, because I thought my understanding is that is their response to the Steam Deck. They're going for we've got a better performing device. I don't know whether that's the case or not, but I think that's what they were hoping to achieve. I don't think that it will outperform the Steam Deck. I just can't see it myself. Mostly because of our DNA in the Steam Deck. I'm on the waiting list. I'm checking my email every morning to see if Steam have told me it's time to come and fulfill my order for the Steam Deck. But I've also put myself in the queue for another little project. Let's see if I can find this. Let's see if I can find this on the right screen. So this is kind of segues into Retro Home. It's the Lyra Plus case. Is that gonna find me the right thing? Yeah, this is it. So let's actually go to the go away. Right, let's have a look. So this is the outfit. They're based in London. They're sort of a design organization, and you'll see here what looks a lot like a Steam Deck. But what this is a case that you put a Compute Module 4 inside. And I'm thinking, well, this is absolutely ripe for a Retro Home version. So let's see how we go. So I've paid my one British pound to put myself in the VIP queue, which I think gets me at the top of the queue for when their Kickstarter launches, in order to purchase one of these at a discount. A whole £1, yes. So conveniently, I have 2 Compute Module 4s, which I'm switching between different devices. We'll see that at some point in the future. But the way they're shipping this is with Raspberry Pi OS, with like RetroArch and the Steam Link on it and all the rest of it. But I thought this could be a fun device to have a play with. So I want to get one of these, and I want to get Retro Home working on it. And maybe what I'm thinking about is the mechanism by which you can boot to different modes of operation. So you can boot into like Retro Home with Ludo, or into Steam Link mode. And I'm not sure like how feasible it would be to like launch into something like Game Pass and GeForce Now and things like that. But I thought this device would be interesting to work with. So I'm in the queue, and as I find out about this, I will share it here. Right then. So that was a little tangent on handheld devices. Let's have a look. Yes, cookie banner navigation like a pro. Looking for that. Don't sign me up for anything. Get me out of here. Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice looking device, isn't it? Yeah, I saw it and I was immediately like, I'm putting that in my to-do list to make sure I get in the queue for that. So, hello Ben, how you doing? Let's have a look here. Ben says, oh, you have the original Lyra. Oh, interesting. So I was trying to track one down. So that's interesting because I was thinking I could start by working on one of those with the Compute Module 3. Yeah. It wasn't the best made. Okay, that's interesting. I wonder if this will be a superior second album, so to speak. After turning on the Lyra for the first time, the power switch. Oh dear, that's not good. It wasn't the only one that had that problem. Okay, were you able to get that replaced? I assume they have some kind of warranty. Let me know. But that's good feedback. King Egypt says maybe they don't want it now. Yeah. So Shane says, I've still avoided Raspberry Pi products over the years. I have a bunch of Arduinos and RISC-V though. Okay. Well, if you've avoided Raspberry Pi up till now, I think you'll be avoiding Raspberry Pi until 2023, because I was looking at some of the industrial vendors and their restock dates for some of the models of Raspberry Pi is January next year. So I'm very glad that I had the hindsight to pre-order a bunch of Raspberry Pis that I wanted for various projects. I've got 11 that I'm not using at the moment that are in boxes down here for assorted projects, so I'm feeling rather smug at the moment with enough Raspberry Pis for the different projects I want to work on. Yeah, they are a great way to fill your drawers, but yeah, I'm trying to get all of mine into things, so that's going to be cut and thrust of a lot of the projects I'm working on here. But with that, let's go and take a look at Deb Get. Who here is familiar with Deb Get? Have you used it? Have you heard about it? Or is this brand new information? Let me know. If you've heard about it, say yes. And if you haven't heard about it, say no in chat. Let's get a straw poll of who's heard with it. So Shane says this is brand new information. Okay, not heard of it. Sparky Geek, yes. Okay. Have you used it, Sparky Geek? Or do you think I'm treading on fine lines here? Hey Zeb, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey, Root over 3. Oh, you've read through the source code. Okay, interesting. Fine lines indeed. Yes, King Egypt's heard of it. And Diogo says he's heard of it, hasn't used it.
Thank you for the follow, Binary Bomber.
Hey, Binary Bomber, welcome to the stream. Thanks very much for the follow. Okay, so some of you have heard of it, some of you haven't. The DIY edition. Okay. Yeah, okay. So this is the project here. And its purpose is very simple. It's the ability to install deb packages that are published not in the Ubuntu archives. Now, that of itself can be achieved with, existing tools in Ubuntu for, adding third-party repositories or PPAs, for example. But there's a growing number of developers that are using GitHub workflows to automatically publish debs of their software into GitHub releases pages. And that stuff never makes it into, or often never makes itself into, the Ubuntu archives or a PPA or a third-party apt repository. And I use a bunch of this software that's available in these places. So what I've done with Deb Get is try to create something that makes like GitHub releases pages work like PPAs. So you can install software not just from GitHub releases, but that was the key feature that I really needed. But you can install and keep up to date debs that are published in GitHub releases pages. So let's just see if I can demo that. Let's do this. I haven't done a Deb Get, so I'm going to do Deb Get Update on my own machine here, and this will do two things. It will first of all do a regular apt-get update effectively, and now it's checking through the packages that I have installed that are installed via Deb Get that exist in places outside of PPA's third-party apt repository. So basically things that are in GitHub releases or direct downloads from websites. And as we can see, I've got one update. So I'm actually going to do the no, I'm not. I'm going to install. In fact, I'm just going to do an install. I could do I tell you what, I'll type upgrade. This is dangerous. So this is doing an apt-get upgrade based on the things that I've got connected to, apt repositories. So this is doing a regular upgrade, and as you can see, there's clearly a new build of Chromium has come out because we're seeing Google Chrome and Brave browser there. So that's doing an update in the background. Once that's complete, it will then go on to do a Deb Get upgrade, where it will look at those packages that I have installed via it and upgrade them. And this was the key feature that I needed, because there's a bunch of software that I use routinely that it is published in that way, and I don't just want to install it, I want to keep it updated without having to download Deb packages manually. So that's the point. So this is just a regular apt-get, and now we're into, here we go. So now it's seen Docker Desktop has a new release, so it's downloading that from there. In fact, this isn't in a GitHub releases. They publish on their own website, so it's using the release page on their website and parsing that in order to work out what the current version of the Deb is, and comparing that to the locally installed copy to determine if I need to do an upgrade. Hello, Skippy Blender. Hello, welcome to the stream. So, hey Wimpy, do any of your family use Linux? Yes, nearly all of them. So, yeah, everyone except for my dad. So my wife and daughter both have laptops with Ubuntu Mate. They do everything using that, have done. I originally created Ubuntu Mate for my wife 8 years ago. And also for my in-laws, who I think I moved them onto Ubuntu in 2006 off of Windows. And then, because reasons, then they were sort of the recipients of early versions of Ubuntu Mate. So all my in-laws and extended family, and my mum, she not only uses just Ubuntu Mate, but she buys her laptops from Entroware and gets them, delivered with Ubuntu Mate pre-installed. So yeah, my family do use Linux in their lives. Right then, so that was it running. So you've got, so for those of you that are new, you can see what the purpose of it is here, and that's keeping my stuff up to date. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add some new features, and I say we, I really mean you, because the community have responded with a bunch of cool capabilities. So this is the outstanding pull requests, and we're going to try and get through some of these. And you think, oh my goodness, 61 issues, this software must be full of bugs. But actually you'll notice that overwhelmingly most of the issues are requests to add yet more software. I think it's approaching 150 packages it can manage that are, like I say, outside of the regular places you would get software for Ubuntu. And there's another 61, and I'm sure there's countless others that would be available. And there's a couple of new ones. So what I'm going to do is I've already triaged these ones. I'm just going to take a look at this one and make sure that this one is something we can support. And because it's in a GitHub releases page, I can tell that that will be supported. Privacy orientated messaging app. Okay, so I will tag this accordingly because I can see that we can support that. So we'll tag it as new package, good first issue. There we go. Those are markers for me to know that this is something that can definitely be added. You'll notice that there are some, like here, where I've done an initial look, but I haven't determined if it's actually suitable for inclusion or not yet. So there's a few that I haven't added yet. Or haven't marked, and that's because I need to have a little bit more of a think about whether to support them or not. So that's the incoming issue queue. If we look at the pull requests, there's some interesting stuff here. So let's have a look at Sparky Geek's question. Is there an unattended upgrades type feature in Deb Get overnight headless security updates? There is not. No, it doesn't do anything automatically. And that's because unattended updates knows what the security and critical updates are because of how they're published in the archives. Whereas DebGet does not know that. And also it's only leaf node applications, you know. They're all apps basically, ostensibly desktop apps with some like VPN services and sort of, you know, command line tools, modern Unix type tools. What do I mean by modern Unix? Let's just bring up this, for example. If I do ls here, you'll notice my ls output is unconventional, and that's because it's not using ls, it's using something else in order to give me pretty things. So, you know, you can install a bunch of those modern Unix tools as well with DebGet. But no, and I'm not sure. I mean, it could be added, or at least it could expose a command to set up a systemd timer to just update the packages it can manage. It's possible. Right, is that ZSH? I'm being asked, is that ZSH? No, it's not ZSH. It's fish. I use the fish shell. I absolutely love it. Have done for 7 years, I think now. I absolutely love fish. Yeah, there we go, Linux Paul. And so Crosbro says, is that Exa? No, it's actually it's actually LSD, which I have aliased to ls in my fish configuration. And similarly, if we do cat readme, you'll notice that that doesn't look like cat output. That's, you know, colorized and markdown aware, and that's actually the it's bat aliased to cat and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of tools like that. I have covered some of these in the past, but there's a whole load of them that I use that are just modern replacements for common stuff like fd instead of find, and ripgrep instead of grep and stuff like that. There's a whole boatload of them, including things like Zenith. Have I still got that installed? Things like Zenith, which, you know, system monitoring stuff, kind of nice. Eat your heart out, H-top. So there's a bunch of stuff like that you'll find in there. So if you want to find interesting software, that's something that Deb gets quite good for.
Thank you for the follow, Kimuchi.
Hey Kimuchi, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. Right then, let's get into this. Let's look at some of the pull requests. So there's one here in particular I'm definitely going to merge and probably do this one first because I suspect this one could make other pull requests unmergeable. And it's this feature here, which so Dreamcat's a member in our Discord, so I'll just put that link in the chat now. There we go. So wimpysworld.io/discord, and he was chatting to me about adding this feature, which is sometimes you want to add a repository to Deb Get before a new release is out. So this is the mechanism to create your own configurations for packages that you want under Deb Get management that aren't in Deb Get yet. So we discussed how to do all of this. This enables that feature, so you can drop your files into deb.get.d in Etsy. But also what it does is it keeps a track of whether or not you've got versions of like local implementations that conflict with what's in Deb Get itself. And it also reminds you if you're using local like overrides and your own versions that ideally file a pull request in the project. So we kind of discussed all of this, and they put a lot of work into it. So I really want to get this in because I know they really want this feature, and also I think it's an interesting feature, something I didn't think I'd need. I've previously reviewed this, but it's a pretty comprehensive change, and that's why I'm going to pull this one in first. I've already sort of pre-agreed wording and features and stuff, so I don't excuse me. Yes, so Crosbro points out that many of those modern Unix tools come from the Rust community. Yeah, Rust and Golang mostly. There are some written in Node, but I tend to avoid those because they tend to be very slow to start on account of the denseness of all of the Node modules that come with them. Right then, so we are going to merge this one, absolutely, positively. So let's rebase and merge that. And then what I'm going to do is tag them and say because they noted that they hadn't written up the docs. And I'm not going to block this on the lack of documentation because I consider this an expert feature. But there we go. So that one's in. And then these are a bunch of additional packages that people have worked on. This one's interesting because it adds a feature as well. So let's take a look at this and see if this is still going to be something. Yeah, I suspected we may have to jump in and do some conflict resolution. Oh well, such is life. Now, what I like about this is they've added this feature here, which is to expose a variable codename supported so that you can do an additional check to see, is this software supported by the version of Ubuntu that you're currently running, which I had on the backlog of things I wanted to add. And they've actually implemented this in a really nice way, and I may go back and rework the way that I expose architecture support in a similar fashion, because this is quite elegant, I think, the way that they've done this. So I want to merge this so that I can get this feature too, because I want to start taking advantage of it. There are some packages, somebody requested support for Bionic, but there was quite a lot of packages that weren't supported by Bionic, which is why you need this sort of, codename validation. Yeah, not COVID throat, no, just, I don't know. Annoying, though. Right, then. So, node modules, indeed. Densest thing in the universe, I hear. Right, then. Let's see if we can navigate a conflict resolution on this one. Oh, this looks like it's going to be quite easy. So we're going to lose that. Now create the final array. So I think we want to do something like that. And hopefully that's the end of it. It's the end of the work we need to do, at least, to resolve that. I use Merger FS on my NAS at home. It's terrific. It's terrific for having a large volume without all the disks spinning all the time. So it's good for power consumption and temperature and noise and things like that. So we'll do that. We'll commit the merge. And now we'll get this one. There we go. This branch cannot be merged due to conflicts. Oh, really? I thought so. So we'll do squash.
Thank you for the
merge.
follow, Rebel Elder.
Hello, Rebel Elder. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. So we'll get that merged. And there we go. That's nice. So now we've got a bunch of these additional packages. I wonder how many of these are actually still going to... That one's good. Okay, so Mandy is often in the community doing little bits and pieces. This one I don't understand enough about Citrix to understand this. I need to review that. OpenRGB, I actually need this myself. We've got conflicts on that one. Okay, these are usually quite simple to resolve. Core control. So I think the one I'm going to do first is this one. In fact, we should probably categorize this change here. So let's just look at what's changed here. Minikube. Minikube quickly sets up local Kubernetes clusters. Ooh. Okay, that's rather nifty. Huh. S390, the GitHub project. How did they do that? Okay, so that one we're going to put in the enhancement or new package. Let's just tag that accordingly. Now, I'm going to dodge some of these other ones because I've seen this other change, which I thought was pretty cool. And I know that this is going to create problems. So there was this request here, or rather pull request, to improve the README. And I love it when people improve the READMEs of things. So I brought this up here, and the main thing that I like about this is if we scroll down to the index, they've put everything in a table. And I appreciate the effort that they went to do this, because I think what's not clear is this table is produced by a function of Deb Get called pretty list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge this change and then update Deb Get pretty list to produce this table in this format. And then I can merge all of these other things with their conflicting README stuff, and I can just ignore anything that touches the README contents, because then we can use Deb Get pretty list to reproduce that in the correct table format. So we're going to take this one So the software index using your table format. So, I've bother typos. Many typos. I really need to replace this keyboard here. Blaming the keyboard, not my shonky typing, of course. Right then, let's squash and merge this one. And that actually closes, or addresses one of the issues where somebody suggested improve the way software is listed. And I know this is Ricardo. He's oh, in fact, it says here developer advocate at Circle CI. I've met him a couple of times at events when I was at Canonical. He's a good guy, so I think we can start to address part of this in you know, in here. So it was 275. So we'll just do that. And let's now go to Git Kraken and just pull that stuff down. Get on the right virtual screen. Hello, there we go, done. Right then, let's head over here and let's find that function there. In fact, I went looking for this earlier. So this is the function that produces the pretty list that I use in the index. Okay, let's have a look here. People casting aspersions on Citrix. Hello, Denzel. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. And also, let's have a look. NSS says,
Thank you for the follow, Denzel V.
Oh, Denzel. Sorry, Denzel. That makes much more sense. There we go. Hello, Denzel. Thanks for the follow. So NSS17 ARG says, are you open to include... Thank you for the follow,
Deadendo08.
Deadendo, is that? Deadendo, welcome to the stream. Thanks for the follow. Are you open to including server tools like Nomad? Yes, server tools, absolutely allowed.
Thank you for the follow, NSS17ARG.
Thanks very much for the follow. You'll find that there's a bunch of server tools in there. My day job, I'm working a lot with containers, so you'll find Docker CE, Docker Desktop, things like Sift, Trivy, Gripe, you know, like container analysis tools. You'll find Tailscale. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there. Basically, you know, you'll often find that interesting developer tooling these days is sitting in a GitHub releases page somewhere. So yeah, if you want to add pull requests for more interesting software, please do. And I realise that we probably need a better way to display, because part of the purpose of this is not just to install and update your software, it's also to act as a discovery mechanism, to sort of, you know, find interesting software. I've been amazed at the really cool software I've found as a result of just having this project. Just the people that are filing the you know, the issue requests to please add this bit of software, it's like, wow, there's some really amazing software out there I just didn't know existed. Yeah, well, I welcome our AI overlords. It's good that at least they can get it right, even if I can't. Sometimes I have to rely on it. So yeah, there we go. Greetings, hello NSS. Oh, so the ARG is for Argentina. I understand. Very good. Well, welcome to the stream. So this is what produces the the index that I put on the Readme, and if we scroll down we can see what changes were made here. So it's a markdown table, so we'll need to put this in as a header, so we'll just copy that over. Oops, that's the wrong script entirely. We will, yes, do that here. We will simply echo in fact, I don't even need to do that, do I? I can just do it like this. In fact, like that. Where was this? Is this just going to stand it out? I think it is, isn't it? I think that will probably do it. So that should give us the header. And then it's just pipes between each of the fields. Is there one on the end? Yeah, pipes beginning as separators. So it's that there. Where do they actually have them? So they've put them image and link. Oh, hang on a minute. What have we got going on here? So, okay. The image, it's different, isn't it? It's a different format. They've changed it quite a bit, actually. So the image source, okay, so I think it's here, the app, and there, and something like that, but maybe not that. Does that get it right? Let's find out. Let's actually run it. So let's have a look. Well, it's doing something. So, morning, Luke. Morning. Let's have a look. Morning. So Luke is asking, did I figure out what happened last stream? I did, yes. I covered it at the beginning of this stream, but very quickly I found out that the power supply, the power adapter that I was using on the Raspberry Pi, I managed to reproduce it. I plugged it in after the stream and everything in the room went out again. It was a faulty power adapter that was causing the electrical sockets in this office to trip. So I can't trust that cable or that power adapter, so it's gone to the recycle center, and I've got a new official Raspberry Pi power adapter, and I haven't had a problem with that. So bad power adapter. Yeah, who would have thought plugging in a Raspberry Pi would take out like everything? Yeah, no, it wasn't the PSU. So this, so King Egypt, so this, oh sorry, Luke, this machine is not quite as bonkers as the one at home. This one's actually quite decent. Even now, you know, it's running relatively cool and quiet. I really like this. In fact, I'm tempted to sell the one at home and like rebuild something very similar to this one at home, because it's a lot more power efficient and a lot more quiet, not as hot, and in the summer that's kind of important. So I think that's doing all the right things. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's take all of this, copy that, Start a new text file. Save that in there. File. Save as. Test.md and then do a open a preview. I do believe that is what we're expecting, is it? No, it's not quite right, is it? No, because they've got source package name description and so let's just go and look at their pull request preview. So that is a link in its own right, whereas what have I got here? Come on, brain. Okay. So they've dropped the pretty name by the looks of it entirely. Is that right? They've dropped the pretty name. Yes, they have dropped the pretty name and just kept the install name. Okay. Alright, well that's reasonable. So let's do the same thing. So we're getting rid of pretty name. And they're doing that. Okay. Okay. So they're dropping the pretty name here and putting the website there. So if we save that, reproduce it. There we go. Selling the beast. Yeah. So the machine at home. I'm not certain. It's possible. I'm going to try something else out first. So the thing about that machine at home that produces most of the heat, like overwhelmingly most of the heat, is the NVIDIA RTX 3090. The backplate on that cut, which is an original one, I got that on, can you imagine this? I bought it at retail price on the day they were released. So expensive, but actually turned out to be really good value, because by the time the GPU market had recovered, I'd had that GPU for 18 months, and you know, the prices of that GPU more than doubled at some points. But it is super hot, like mega hot, because it's got DIMMs on both sides of the PCB, memory modules. So I've kind of come up with this idea that the AMD GPUs are more power efficient and therefore cooler, and I've got an RX 6900. So I'm thinking of replacing the 3090 with an RX 6900, which for games related stuff is just going to be fine for what I need. It's not quite comparable, but it's not so far behind that it's going to bother me in any meaningful way. But the one thing I am really going to miss from the NVIDIA GPU is NVENC, the encoder. So I've actually bought a NVIDIA T600, which is a cheap Quadro type device. It's like 150 quid, and it's a mega weedy GPU, but it has the current version of the NVENC encoders on it fully unlocked. So and it's only a single slot bus powered card. So what I'm thinking of doing is putting the lower power, lower temperature 6900 in as the GPU, and then slotting the single slot T600 in just to use as my encoder when I'm streaming and doing video editing. And I think the total power draw of those two cards will be significantly less than the 3900. So that's my initial.
Thank you for the follow, Zalamilo.
Oh, Zalamilo, that's a good name. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. So that's my initial idea for addressing the temperature problem. And if that doesn't solve it, then yeah, I may look, because the rest of the system is Threadripper based, so that generates some heat, but actually the cooling solution I've got on there keeps that quite comfortable. Sits at about 45 degrees most of the time. Only when I really blow out a big build and all of the cores light up that it can hit 80 degrees, but it's for short spells. But the backplate on the Nvidia card is constantly at plus 90 degrees Celsius, constantly pumping out hot air. So I'm trying to address that. Do you think macOS is secure? I'm not qualified to answer that question. Are there any macOS experts in the crowd? Could I not liquid cool the 3090? No, I've got a 3090 that doesn't use one of the reference designs used by the aftermarket water blocks, so unfortunately not. So King Egypt says, I didn't realize AMD didn't have low power encoder on the graphics card. So AMD do have an encoder. It's accessible through VA API on Linux, and in fact in the next release of OBS Studio there's a number of improvements to how you introspect and access those VA API capable devices in your system, which is going to be terrific. But the Intel and AMD encoders, quality-wise, are very far behind what the NVIDIA encoder can do. If you're encoding high bitrate stuff, that it's fine, because at the point you get into sort of plus 20 megabits, 20,000 megabits, it all things are equal. But when you're streaming at relatively low bit rates, I bend the Twitch rules. I stream at 7200, but that's beyond what Twitch says you're supposed to do. But there are ways around Twitch's policies. Using VA API with Intel or AMD, even at those bit rates, it's pretty poor. So I value NVENC for streaming, and also the speed at which you can render videos. So when I turn these streams into archives and upload them to YouTube, I have NVENC do the video encoding on that as well, and it takes minutes rather than hours as a result. Right, so we've hopefully just tweaked our output of the pretty list command. Hopefully if we just grab this and jam it back in, my what a lot of software. This list is growing. I can remember when I first made this, I think I had like 20 things in it. I shared it with a friend of mine, Popey, and said, here you go, what do you think about this? And he was like, well, that's everything I'd need. And then turns out there's a whole bunch of interesting stuff out there. Oh, hello. I thought did I not? Yeah. Save that. Oh, there we go. Let's just reopen the preview, see if that'll... There we go. Now that's doing the right thing. Oh, except we've got brackets around that, which we don't need now. Okay. But that is what they... Hang on, no, that's still not right. Why is this not right? Well, let's do this. We don't need the brackets. So we'll get rid of that. Why is this not looking correct? I think I've missed some squares in the last edit. Square. Square website. Where am I missing squares? I think I've got what's necessary to match this. I mean, this clearly is not right. Did I actually rerun the pretty list? I don't think I did. There we go. There we go. That's what I've done. I've actually copied the old output. Sorry, I was getting distracted by the interesting conversation in chat. Double check my header row. Okay, I will do both those things. I'll just grab this and paste that into our test. Make sure it's doing the right thing. And now we'll preview that. There we go. That's what we were after. Right, so that's producing the list. Oops, what's this? Oh, it's me. I've copied it in twice. Boy. Okay. I think that's doing the right thing. I think we'll just get rid of that. Don't save that. Get rid of the preview thing there. And I think that implements the right thing. So we'll leave that alone now because I need to commit that actually. I also need to get rid of all of this nonsense down here. There we go. So let's have a look here. Interesting. It's always interesting to hear about how other ideas on Python there's side by side so you can view with the markdown. Yeah, that would be useful. I'm sure there must be an extension for that. I'll have to have a look and see if I can find something like that for VS Code. Right then, let's have a think. We need to get that committed, so it's over to good old Gitkraken for that. Because now I'm going to be... Oh, so we don't need this. Okay. Stage all of that stuff and... Right then, submit. Oh, I need to unlock my keyring. Okay, good. I'll push that up because then I should be able to work through these. So we can close that one and then we can come back and look at these now. So where shall we start with these? I think this one was mergeable last I looked. Oh, because our Readme, we're expecting this. So let's resolve these conflicts very simply by just taking all of this old formatting and dropping it. Because what we can do is regenerate the so we'll take that one conflict. Hang on, where? It's done. So Paul says VS Code does have Markdown preview. Okay, that's good to know. So we'll now squash and merge that. And we will move on to the next one. Open RGB. I do want this because I use it in this case. Well, I use it in both my cases. So we've got multiple conflicts. We'll just get rid of anything to do in the Readme. We don't care that that's going to be broken because we can regenerate these entirely. So that's that fine. That should be fine there. Let's go and look at the other one. So there we go. So that was conflicting with that earlier one. So we're good there as well. So let's is this that's fine. So mark resolved. What's going on here? Why? I'm not seeing a conflict anywhere. There it is. Commit that and squash and merge that. Nice one. So let's have a look. What have we got here? So Shane says, I'm curious of open RGB with my new computer. I want to have light control at the moment. I just have static red. So I don't have very exotic lighting effects in my systems. I like the B in RGB. So between the two of us, we're using 66% of the colors available there. I have most of my stuff just set to blue lights. Or like breathing effects with blue or something, or waterfall effects, but it's always just blue because I find the multicolor stuff a bit distracting. The blue's sort of pleasant. Now, as it happens, what I tend to do is I have a systemd unit which calls open RGB at system startup time and pokes all of the values that I want into the various colored devices to color everything the way I like it. But the UI is useful for actually experimenting and figuring out how I want things. So once I use the UI to actually decide how I want it, I then have a systemd unit that then sets everything at system boot. No, it turns out yes, Mate Green being Chelsea Cucumber, which we're all looking at right now. This is it, the Chelsea Cucumber. It turns out this shade of green is not well. It doesn't reproduce very well in those RGB color displays. So pink lights and pink lights as well. I do have an exotic sort of hot pink and orange light setup that my daughter made for me for the computer. This is at home for the computer, and also we've got hue lights in the office, and I think she called it something like Savannah. And I tell you what, in the evening when it's dark at night and I'm just working and I want a nice sort of soothing thing, it's actually really nice. Turn all the other lights out and you get this sort of red orange just glow. I like it a lot. So let's get through some of these. So core control I think is something similar. Doesn't that do like CPU related stuff for AMD. What does the description say? Allows you to control with ease your computer hardware. It says control with ease. I'm pretty sure I've tried to use it before and been absolutely baffled by what it was showing me, but that's not to say that some people must find this useful. So let's go and get these conflicts resolved. We know what we're doing here. We're just going to get rid of everything to do with Readme changes. And get rid of that. Mark that as resolved. Move on to this one. We're going to want to keep that. Get rid of that. And somewhere here we're going to find that. And now merge that one. There we go. So let's get those squashed and merged. So Shane says that core control, it does control CPU and GPU hardware. Is it limited to any particular vendors, do you know? Can you tell me about that? So I'll tell you something interesting. So King Egypt suggests, you could not buy into Hue and just set your wallet on fire for a cheaper effect. Where I live, light bulbs seem to go, all regular light bulbs, be they, LED or power saving or good old fashioned, incandescent things. They go really quickly. So I experimented by buying some Hue bulbs, and what I found is they last. So actually, I think when you get them on like the bundle discounts, because we don't have to replace our light bulbs, literally like every 2 months the light bulbs are going, the Hue bulbs are actually working out quite well, because I'm 2 years in and not one of them has failed so far. So I'm pretty happy with Hue for unexpected reasons, as it happens. I was hoping that they'd be more reliable, but they are bulletproof. They're great. F-Search, I quite liked this. I didn't know, this was one I didn't know about when I went looking. So we'll just do the resolving the conflicts bit. So again, everything in the README can go. Out with the old. And this is going to be the same arrangement as before. Now go and look for the closing main. There it is, hiding up here. So mark that one as done. Okay. And squash and merge. So, and then this was somebody, was it NSS was asking about server tools. Here we go, here's a server tool. So let's get this one in as well. I might take a look at this later, actually. It sounds quite interesting. Okay, so that's looking good. Get that one in, and let's see, what does it say? Yeah, we know about this. This is who hates related local testing, which I think sounds pretty nifty. Right, let's get rid of that. Good. Now, it looks like we've just added a couple of features here, but already I've got in the queue of unreleased stuff a bunch of other fixes and improvements that people have contributed recently. So that's that in. What have we got left here? So this Citrix stuff, there's this and this one from the same author. I need to speak to them to get my head around this. I don't know enough about Citrix. This we're getting closer to as a result of adding that codename support, or rather somebody adding the codename support. So this should unlock the potential for getting there with that. Let's look at these issues. Did any of these... So error installing Rust deck. Oh, I see. So it's actually pulling in a Pi version. Okay, well that's gonna... I'm gonna have to go off and have a little look at that. Input remapper, that's software that I know. Oh yeah, this looked interesting. This looked like an interesting bit of software. And it was published in a PPA, which is relatively easy to add. So I want to have a play with this one. And this is available for everything. Cool. Okay. Oh, I see. So they letter them. Okay, interesting. Okay. Right then. That's an interesting way of doing it. So they basically just always march forward with releases. I wonder if that's in the archive. No, it can't be because it's never been replaced. Okay. So let's go and add this. So this is a request that somebody add this. Oh, they're working on it. Aha. In which case, I won't add it because somebody's clearly going to be interested in doing that one, which is good to see. So maybe I'll just let that as it goes, because what I was thinking is maybe I'll do one of these Deb Get ones in like next week sometime, where basically I just like pull out, I don't know, 5 of the things that are most interesting to me and just add some. Oh, this one's been done. And so has this one. That's why I was looking. Ah, in fact, and so has this one. So those 3 have all been done now. So none of these others were in the list, were they? So let's go and have a look at this. Yep. So closed via 264. So it looks like we've got a closed via 265. And Portmaster, I know, was added. We're going to have to go and find this one, aren't we? So let's go and look at pull requests, closed ones. Or Saffing Portmaster 241. So let's just get that. Close that one. So there we go. That's just a bit of hygiene in the issue list. I think we're all up to date there now. So what does that do for our issue count? Shouldn't be 61. There we go. 58. That's more like it. Okay, cool. Right then, that's looking good. Hello, noob of Linux. How are you doing? Welcome back. Okay, let's have a look here. So Shane says that core control can do fan curves. Okay, that's quite useful. As well as a governor on Intel CPUs. I have no Intel CPUs in anything other than my laptop these days. I can't see I'm going to go back. Just the ungodly amount of power that keeps being pushed into Intel CPUs to keep them competitive. And the same is true of NVIDIA GPUs. I don't think I'm going to upgrade to the next generation of any GPUs. Certainly not from NVIDIA. The power requirements are just bonkers. I'm hoping that AMD don't... they've had for several years now been driving up the efficiency and driving down the power requirements, and I hope that continues, but I fear that they may have to not do that in order to remain competitive. So Shane says you don't trust PPAs. Yeah, I mean, PPAs, at least you can vet what's in them. You know, you can actually go and look, you know, you can download the source package to a PPA and inspect it, you know, if you are mistrustful. I've published some to call it governance or policy is a bit strong, but sort of some rules of inclusion. You know, what's acceptable. So, yeah, just some sensible rules to make sure that the stuff that goes in here is only from like upstreams and the vendors and the projects and what have you, which I think is as good as we can do. And so Shane says core control does support AMD CPUs as well. Oh, well, that's excellent. Right, we've got a bunch of stuff up in GitHub now, so let's go and pull that down locally. Regenerate our table for the Readme. So that's all done nicely. So, in fact, let's do this in this shell here. We'll Deb Get Pretty List. We'll let that go, and then we'll go and grab all of that, stick it in the Readme. Then we should be able to... And the fact that this runs to completion is also like a check that nothing's broken, because this has to parse each of the entries. So if any of the things that we've merged were broken, this would have fallen over and told us about it. So this is like part of the reason for doing this is I thought about integrating this into CI/CD to sort of act as a build check, if you like. So we should be able to now replace the whole of that stuff with where's the end of it? There it is. And save that. And now over to Git Kraken. And we should be able to see that we've got a how have I changed some of these? Oh, I see. So they would have changed they alphabeticized it, but I can't do that as straightforward. That's fine. So update table supported packages, stage all of that, commit those changes. So we'll then come in here and somewhere in here. I'm going to have to break this stuff out as well. It's got to the point now where it's sufficiently large. So we'll call this 0.3.0 because it feels like it's time to bump. There's a new feature in there. And we'll stage that change. We'll push that. We'll drop in here. No, the wrong place entirely. We'll now build a new version of the package. So that has built a new version of the Deb package, and now we'll go over to our releases and we will create a new release. So we've got that version bump there. So let's draft a new one. This is going to be 0.3.0. Generate release notes. It's all of the good stuff from everyone that contributed. And then we'll attach development Wimpy's World. We should have a new Deb package there. And publish release. There we go. A new version just like that. And let's have a look. What have we got here? So this is nice. There's lots of good stuff added. Bunch of bug fixes. I love how GitHub makes this easy to sort of track. Look at all these first-time contributors. What a bunch of awesome people. Isn't that fantastic? So I publish a Deb here for Deb Get because Deb Get has a useful feature, which I may just need to clean up something to demonstrate. But if I do Deb Get and get rid of the cache for Deb Get, because that requires, it's probably stale by now because it's probably an hour old, but I'm just going to force the issue. So if I now do Deb Get update, as I say, that's going to do an apt-get update. Now it's going to check all of the packages, and there, look, you can see Deb Get can see there's a new version of itself available. So Deb Get, you use Deb Get to install Deb Get because it can bootstrap itself, and then once it's installed, Deb Get keeps itself updated from that from its own GitHub releases page. So once this is complete, we will now do an upgrade, and we hopefully shouldn't have any system packages. There were none, and there it is. There's Deb Get updating itself. And we're good to go. What's top grade, Phil? Okay, so Phil has just said top grade supports Deb Get, by the way. I don't know what top grade is. Can you give me some more information? So if we now run Deb Get, I'm going to guess its version. There we go. We now have the current version. We're good to go. I'm very interested. So one of the things I'm going to be doing on a stream here at some point soon is taking a look at, I've got this idea for like how to promote Deb Get. So all of those projects that are like in GitHub releases pages are perfect candidates for this. To add documentation to their projects which explains how to install and keep updated those software that is only published via GitHub releases, doing that via pull requests. So I'm thinking I'll create like a bit of boilerplate that people in the community can use to say, hey, this project, here's a pull request that updates your documentation to use Deb Get, because it's a better solution than having to manually go and get a new package, you know, when they become available. I'm going to have to go and Google top grade. My interest is piqued. So, and I also see King Egypt says this. I had heard that the new AMD GPUs would be the same power but 50% more efficient. So I think that was true of the... oh, okay. So previous models, they'd reduced the power and the efficiency. But what you're saying is they're going to keep the power targets the same, but they're going to increase the efficiency. Well, let's hope so. If I've found a solution to having NVENC with low, more efficient AMD GPUs, then I could be very interested in that. Okay, so Phil Clifford says that top grade upgrades everything: system, Docker images, snaps, firmware. Google the GOT-HIB. Okay. Let's go and do that thing. Let's go and... Do you mean... Let's just Google top grade. Is it an Ubuntu thing or a Linux? It must be an Ubuntu thing. Here we go. Upgrade everything. Interesting. Thank you for this, Phil. Let's learn together. So this is Rust. Very good. I approve of that. That's pretty cool. So, wow. Okay. Interesting. And for Nix, also interesting. Okay. So, what backends does it support? Is that easy to... Can I see? I don't think I can see from there. Steps. Remote. Is this the things it supports? An interesting project. I'm going to have to have a little poke around in this one. So it's not just Linux. It looks like this works on, well, definitely Mac OS. And I saw a reference to Windows in there as well. Thanks for that, Phil. I'm going to keep that open and take a look at that. Well, there we go. Oh, that's the wrong thing. So, I'm very happy. New release out. Bunch of fixes in here as well from other people, which are much needed. And, hopefully, we scroll down here. A much prettier list of things. That's pretty nice, isn't it? That was a good addition. One I would have never have thought of, but obvious in retrospect. But that looks much better. Much better. So the next thing is maybe formatting these by categories, and I'm thinking maybe we add an icon URL to the metadata, and then you can have like the project icon if it's available, and these simple descriptions to create, you know, a more visually appealing. But this is already an improvement, I think, significantly so. Right then, I think that is a good new release. I am happy with that. So, what am I going to be working on next? Well, Deb Get will definitely get some more attention in the future. I want to add Debian support. So that will be making use of that codenames feature. And also, I need to add architecture support for Ubuntu PPAs, because I've noticed that some of the PPAs are multiple architectures, but Deb Get defaults to only thinking that they're AMD 64 only, so we need to do something about that. And I'm just looking to see who is streaming. Ah, excellent, excellent. I know this person. Let's go here. Right then, I have found who we're going to be raiding. So this is somebody I saw the other day. They're based in the UK, and the other day they were doing GeoIP stuff. So I don't know what they're up to today. but they're you know, another developer working on interesting stuff. So we will queue up a raid over there. I will be back on Friday morning, maybe doing Retro Home, maybe doing something else. We'll see how we get on. But thank you all very much for coming. I hope I will see you on Friday. If I don't, have a fantastic weekend. And I will be back again Monday next week. And tomorrow, being Thursday, I'll be streaming on the Slim DevOps channel. That's our work channel. So that's twitch.tv/slimdevops. And I'm probably going to be working on a optimized Ubuntu for ARM for running containers, maybe, or something. But with that, let's go raiding. Bye-bye for now.